near the end and kind of go through any questions or any concerns that you all have and kind of address those one by one. Yeah, but Bethany, if you wanted to take it away from here, we can start going.
Thank you, Chase, for that warm introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Bethany, as Chase mentioned, and I am here to walk you through your exciting new portal. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to start right at the beginning with the initial email and walk you all the way through the process. As Chase mentioned, this is a presenting only environment, but we do have that question box. So if there's anything I'm going over that doesn't make any sense to you, please throw those questions in the box and we'll be happy to review them towards the end. I do not expect the presentation to run a full hour, so we should have plenty of time to go over any questions you have. We really want this to be beneficial for you. We want you to really understand what this new tool is and make sure that you can leverage it. So we'll go ahead and get started. Excellent. So if all is working as expected, you should now be able to see an email box. And this will be your first experience with this scenario. So you're going to get an email that looks like it's going to come from Chase, which is great. It's going to tell you that RWM has accessed or set up a portal for you, and it's going to give you some login information. There are a couple of ways to get to the portal right from this email. You can click right here where it says here, or you can click towards the end where it says sign into your investment portal. There are a number of really important pieces of information inside this email. You're going to get your username, which will be your email, so super easy to remember, and then you're going to get a password, which will be embedded right there. Excellent. So let's go ahead and get logged in. We'll walk you through the whole process, make sure that it feels very comfortable. Excellent. So the first thing we're going to do is put our email in there and our password. I know my email, so I'm just going to copy my password. Perfect. And now we're going to log in. The first time you log in, it is going to ask you to verify your account. You're going to go ahead and enter a phone number if you have not already and ask the system to send you a code. It should do that. Now I'm just waiting on that to come through. Again, we want you to see the whole experience, so some of this may be a little slower than you're used to for a presentation, but we want to make sure you understand how this is going to communicate. Excellent. Now we're all set. And we're going to verify. That'll come right through on your phone, and it's a one-time code specifically for your use, so it won't be shared with anyone else. Now that we're logged in, you're going to see a list of any households you have access to. So that's what we're looking at right here. These are a number of different ways of really slicing and dicing your accounts. You may have segmented out trusts separate from all of the rest of the accounts in your household. You may have some corporate accounts separated. You may, as we have here in this demonstration, separate taxable and non-taxable within any given household. So you're probably used to that breakdown already. This is not going to be vastly different than any of the reporting you've already been receiving from RWM, but it will be laid out here on the screen, very easy for you to see what the name of it is, what its market value is, and then of course you can just dive right in. Before we get there though, I want to remind you of a very important step. The first thing you're going to want to do here is change your password. So as soon as you've gotten to this screen, you can just select your name right here at the top, and you want to change your password. Do this before you do anything else in the system. So we're going to put our old password right there, and then we're going to change our password. That does two things. One, it sets you up with a password you can remember, and two, it makes sure that your password is not something that's ever come through any kind of electronic communication to you. So that's a password that you control that's never been sent to you. That's a great security feature that you'll want to take advantage of. Excellent. So now we're here. We've reset our password. We're all logged in. We can see our list of households. And now we just want to select one. Which one of these is the one that you want to look at first today? So we'll go ahead and dive right into this Smith non-taxable. You can see right off the bat that this is a very responsive and very interactive experience for you. We're going to go ahead and select this household. That's going to dive us right into the year-to-date information for this household. You can see, we'll get into some of these a little bit in more detail in a second, but you can see that right off the bat, you've got a lot of information available to you right there in the screen. Now we're going to go to select a different household. Let's say you're finished in the non-taxable accounts and you want to go look at your taxable household. You can just select right here to select portfolio. And now we're going to navigate to our Smith taxable household. So that same screen you're used to, 2 clicks away, now you're in a different breakdown of your data. Again, this structure is probably very familiar to you already. It's just a different way of getting to that same information. Excellent. So here we are. We're in the portal. Now let's take a look at all of the great information that you're going to be able to access once you're logged in. You'll note that there's a great deal of data just on this landing screen. The system's going to tell you what the overall value of the household you're looking at is. It's going to tell you the last time good data was pushed into the system. And over on the side, you're going to see what we call headlines. They're going to give you big picture data points. How much available cash do you have? What's your current year-to-date performance? But any one of these goes so much deeper than just a headline. So we'll just start right here on the landing page and walk you through just a few of the features and data points that are accessible to you right off the bat. This first pie chart, or donut chart technically, is based off of asset allocation. So here you're just going to see a very big picture. Where are my holdings kind of concentrated? But of course, it's not just that. The entire platform's super dynamic. And if you hovered over any one of these, you're going to get specific information about that allocation. So here we know the exact dollar value that's focused in the U.S. stock for this household. If we wanted even more detail on U.S. stock, all we have to do is click on that. And now we're actually looking at the underlying securities inside that allocation. Again, if we hover over any one of those, the system's going to give us specific information about that holding. How many shares do we have? What's our dollar value for that particular asset? What's its weight across the entire asset allocation? If we click on any one of those again, it's going to take us right back to the level we were before. So now we're right back where we started, but we've got a lot of information with just a few different clicks. And of course, that's just the first screen. If we continue to navigate through, here we've got another donut chart. This is going to show us a breakdown by account. Again, very interactive, very responsive. Anytime you hover over something, it's going to give you information about that particular segment of the data you're looking at. If you click on something, it's going to take you even deeper. Our next screen is a list of the top 10 holdings inside the household that you're looking at. This is a really great way to kind of see where your assets might be concentrated. And again, very interactive. Anytime you hover, it's going to give you detail about that particular holding. And that takes us right back to where we started. So as I mentioned, this is just the first of many screens available to you here. If we wanted to look at return information, so again, big picture already right on the screen. As soon as you log in, you've got that year-to-date number, but if you wanted to click on that, the system's going to populate a number of screens that give you some more context about that number. It's going to give you beginning and ending value information, rate of return, dollar change, and then of course, even more, depending on how much deeper we dive. So here we've got gain and loss graphed out over time. If we had contributions in this household, you'd see them here as well. It's a great way to be able to see what might be driving a market value or an overall household change if it's driven by assets moving in or out of the household, as opposed to gains and losses in the market. Here we've got some detailed information about the underlying accounts that make up this household. This is really great if you want to see how individual accounts are doing throughout a time period, where money might be moving in or out of individual accounts, what the performance looks like for specific accounts as opposed to the household as a whole. But of course, that data is still available to you as well. Here we've got account level performance broken out over time. This is really nice. Again, if you just want to get a little bit deeper into the data, get a sense of what's driving particular numbers, that's available to you here. This is a chart that's going to show that asset allocation, the very first donut chart we looked at, but here it's going to show you that information graphed out over time. This is a really nice way to see if there's a particular allocation that's growing a lot or shrinking a lot, depending on market changes. And now we're right back to where we started. Excellent. So everything that we've looked at so far is year-to-date data. So that's great. Again, this is your what's going on right now screen. This is, I just logged in, I want big picture, I want to know how things are looking in the market, I want to know how my households are doing, I want to know how much cash I have. That information is right here just as soon as you get into the system. But of course, there's so much more than that. You're very likely already very used to getting monthly reports from RWM. Those are still going to come to you in the same format that they've been delivered, but in addition to that format, they're going to be loaded up here onto this system as well, which means that in the same place that you're going to check your available cash on any given day, you can also pull up your February 2017 monthly return report. So let's go ahead and dive right into that section so you can see how that interface is going to work. But before we get there, I'm going to actually back up one screen. We're going to go back to the emails. So in addition to the initial invite email, you are going to periodically receive an email that looks a little bit more like this. It's still going to come from Chase, still going to be obviously identified as something from RWM, but this is telling you that documents have been loaded into the document center. It's again going to give you access to the portal, so one click away, you're going to get right into the system, and then it's going to tell you documents are there. It might also have some additional detail about what those documents are, depending on what's being uploaded. But that email is very likely to come through, so just so that doesn't seem unusual to you, we wanted to make sure you had a sense of what that would look like. With that being said, once you've received that email, you followed the link, you're logged in. If you actually want to review those documents, to do that, you're going to navigate right here to Documents. Perfect. And now we're in your Documents portal. This is a very, very powerful system. Right away, you can see that there are folders in this system. These are just really designed to help you identify the kinds of documents that are available to you. If a folder system or a folder view isn't particularly helpful to you, there are lots of different ways of viewing this information. You can look at it as a table, which is just going to show you information usually in the last updated file. You can look at it as a grid. So really just depending on what kind of interface you're comfortable with, you can control that experience. I'm personally partial to folders, so we're going to navigate back there. And now let's take a look at how that experience is going to work for you. So you've gotten the email, or you've received the email, you followed it, you're in the Document Center. You actually want to take a look at that file. Here we're just going to select Monthly Reports. And if we wanted to take a look at that February 2017 file, we would just click on that. The system's immediately going to open it as a PDF for us. We're going to click on that PDF, and there's your file. Again, you've almost certainly already have something like this in-house. You're going to continue to receive that from RWM in the same way that you have. But if you did want to find that February 2017 file and it's July of 2017, and you don't want to have to go back through a series of emails, or you don't want to have to find the file that you saved on your own servers, but you put it in a subfolder structure or an archive at your own house or on your own laptop, and now you can't remember where you put it, or you just don't want to have to navigate to it. Because this system is is on the web because it's very mobile friendly. This is something you could pull up here inside the Document Center, usually much quicker than you could anyplace else. Even if you've got that file on your own machine, it's probably faster to get to it here. And this system will just continue to build as you work with RWM, and as they continue to produce reports for you, you're going to see them here. They're not going to be removed as a rule, which means you're going to be able to move back and forth in time, see the information that you want to see without having to navigate to wherever you saved it on your own machines. So that's terrific for consuming documents, for being able to review the information that RWM has provided for you, and that's fabulous. But of course, there are times when you might want to upload something here yourself. Maybe you're uploading something for your own personal records. You just want to put it here so that you know where to find it because you love the site and you spend so much time on it, and it's great that you can find everything you need here. That's fine, no problem, unlimited document storage. But maybe alternately, you want to send something specifically to RWM. Either way, the system can help you with that. You would just click here on the Upload Document button, also down here. And you're going to get a very easy to use interface that's going to allow you to upload a document. You could drop it into one of the folders that we'd looked at earlier. So if we wanted to put it back in that same monthly report folder, we could. You could add a brief description just to give it some context so that it makes sense to you in the future and you know what it is that you uploaded. If the file name isn't particularly clear or if you need to give it a little bit more definition, you could add that description right here. You'd browse to the file using the same kind of standard navigation structure you're used to. And then if you wanted the advisor to receive a very specific message about this file so that they understood what the nature of this communication was about, if they needed to act on it, you could include a message to the advisor right here. Once you filled this out, you're just going to click Upload. The system's going to receive that file. It's going to be right here in your document section whenever you need it. Excellent. Okay. So we talked a little bit about year-to-date information. We've talked a little bit about the Document Center and that it's two-way, that you can load information, that RWM is going to be loading information here to give this system even more depth for you and to make it even more beneficial for you in terms of obtaining RWM data and communicating with RWM if you need to do that. But there's even more. If you wanted to take a look at something that was older, but for whatever reason you did not want to look at a particular PDF, there are also statements directly embedded within the system. These have been built off of the information that RWM maintains for you. So let's take a quick look at those, kind of help that make a little bit more sense. In the same way that the year-to-date data is dynamically displayed in the system, is very responsive, is very accessible, RWM has also made some historical information available to you in the system, very responsive, very accessible. As soon as you get into the statements area, again, we just click this button right up here, there's going to be the current statement loaded onto the screen. Usually that's going to be the most recent quarter end. But if that wasn't the time frame you wanted, if let's say you wanted to look at Q1 2016, let's say you remembered that you made a major deposit in that time period and you wanted to see what assets looked like right before the deposit and what they looked like right after the deposit, by clicking on this Past Statements button, you can open up a drop-down menu that will allow you to navigate back in time to various time periods depending on how much data is available in the system. So for the sake of this display, we'll just navigate right to Q1 2016, which is right here. You can see almost immediately the system's going to populate that data. This is much faster than finding that same report on your own machine again. It's just really nice to be able to get to so much data in the same location for you guys. And it's one of the great benefits of this platform is that you can move between time periods, find old documents, look at your current information, all with the same login, all without really much effort at all. So now we're on that Q1 2016 statement. We'll just take a quick scroll through here, walk you through some of the features of that statement. Right at the top, you're going to see beginning and ending values. You're going to see the rate of return for that period. And then, of course, there's additional information as we scroll down. Here you're going to see this data graphed out. So you're going to see that beginning value right here on a line, and then you're going to see the value change over time in a number of bar charts. So you can kind of see growth compared to where you started that particular period. The next section is going to show you data points for the period in question. So here we're looking at value at each month end. We would see contributions if those were available in the system, if you'd added or taken out money, and then you're going to see a dollar gain or loss for any given period as well. This graph is just a visual representation of this table up here. So again, we're just looking at dollar changes over time. If we had contribution information, we'd see that graphed out here in that slightly lighter blue. As we mentioned before, super interactive. This is not static. So if you hover over this particular tower or bar, it's going to give you the specific dollar gain for that period. Excellent. Going a little bit further down here, we're looking at an asset allocation pie chart. So this is the end of the period, and you're going to see that both visually graphed out and again super interactive, and then you can also see this here in the table. So just two different ways of getting to the same information, but still really readily available for you. And then you're going to see that same asset allocation over time bar chart that we looked at a little bit earlier. Again, a great way to see if there are particular segments that have a lot of change over a period. A little bit further down, we're going to be looking at an account breakdown. Great way to see where assets might be concentrated in individual accounts. Here we're going to look at account and household performance for that period. Here we've got account weighting for that period. Again, just really nice to be able to kind of visually see that kind of data. And then all the way down here at the bottom, we've got actual specific holdings information. So here we're looking at holdings for the household as a whole. Lots of detail here, how many shares, what's your value, what's its weight. If you wanted to go even deeper and you wanted to see what each individual account was holding, that's also available to you. So as we keep scrolling, now we're looking at breakdowns for the same assets, but just across the individual accounts that specifically hold them. Excellent. We'll go ahead and navigate back to the top here. Perfect. Well, those are going to be the areas of the platform that I think are going to be most beneficial to you, and we hope that you're going to find really exciting and engaging. Real quick before we move on to questions, I just wanted to make a few quick mentions about security. It's important to note that all communication to this site is highly encrypted, that the site is on a web server system that's also highly encrypted. So, and that there's a limited amount of data that's actually stored here. So we've worked very hard to make sure that this is a secure location for you to share information, that this is a secure location for you to access information, and we just wanted to touch base on that real quickly just to make sure that you are aware of that. Okay, so that's our big picture summary. I'm going to pause for just a second, check to see if we have any open questions. So bear with me in the silence. It actually doesn't look like we have any questions, which means that, Chase, are there any items that I didn't cover or you'd like me to go into any additional detail on? I certainly don't want to take up more time than we need to on your plate, but I don't want to not have the communication as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that covers the bulk of the features that we were looking to touch on. If there are no questions, by all means, feel free to once you have a chance after this this webinar to go online, check your own accounts and poke around a little bit now that you have some sense of what's all available on the website. And if there are any questions at all that come up after you have a chance to look around online, by all means, feel free to contact us directly. We're more than happy to answer any questions that you may have offline as well. But no, thank you very much for going through that, Bethany, and I think we're in good shape unless if there are any last-minute questions.
Nothing showing up. So my pleasure. We got to thank you, so that's good. We were very glad to do it. Happy to be here. But no actual questions. So as Chase said, please reach out. We're here to help.
All right, absolutely. Thank you again, and there's going to be one more webinar on May 2nd, I believe, at 2 o'clock again. So if you'd like to take another look, and thank you very much, and to take another walkthrough just to refresh, by all means, feel free to join that one as well. Otherwise, I think we are all set for the day.
Excellent. And then I'll go ahead and close this down. But thank you guys so much for attending. We really appreciate it. Everyone have a great day.